Phenomenal morning, guys. Phenomenal morning. I am so excited for you this morning. This is your Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Sean Raiz, as always, flanked by the phenomenal Bobby Jackson. And listen, I am extremely excited for you. Phenomenal morning, phenomenal new year, phenomenal new you, phenomenal new business, phenomenal new opportunity. First time I'm saying it to you, Bobby. Phenomenal new year, brother. How are you feeling? What's the energy like?
Man, it's incredible. It's incredible, Sean. I was in the gym this morning and I wasn't the only one there. And I was at a hotel.
Let's go.
So I felt like it was another service member, but they were tired and stuff like that. But you can just see that the energy is up. Everybody's enjoying themselves. So for me, I was just saying, make an entrance and make a difference into the new year. Like make an entrance into the new year and make a difference.
Make an entrance and make a difference. Kick in the door 2024. I heard it before. I heard you say that. Kick in the door 2024. Listen, guys, I really hope that you're setting the tone for what this new year is going to look like. Like that's the first thing you want to do is set the tone. I told you guys last year, I said the way you leave this year will dictate the way you enter the year. The energy that you have, the things that you did yesterday will dictate the things that you do today, and the things that you do today will dictate the things you do tomorrow, and so on and so forth. We're going to talk about setting the tone. We're going to talk about setting the tone for your business, for your growth, because this is what we do, guys. Share this out. I know there's a lot of people waking up still crust in the eyes. Hashtag replay squad. Listen, the culture over here is one of leadership, right? The culture over here is one of leadership. So I myself did not entertain the ball falling and all of those things. I didn't see those things. I saw the pillow, right? I saw the pillow. The insides of my eyelids were watching me fall, right? Deeper and deeper into sleep so we could do what we do today, which is what we do every single day, which is help you build a phenomenal business, help you build a phenomenal brand, and make sure that you have a happy new day every day of the year. That's the goal. That's the overarching goal. That this day or last night doesn't become like the epitome or the grandest day. I want every single day to become more glorious, more beautiful, and more beneficial for you and for others. We'll be right back. This is your Breakfast with the Brand. Don't take what I just said lightly. Let's grow. There's slow growth and then there's scale. There's incremental growth and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 + 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 + 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 + 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 + 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a zero to you, you can add a zero to the marketplace. You can add a zero to the value that you bring. So you can add a zero to your family, add a zero to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a zero. Add a zero to your competence, add a zero to your confidence. This is about adding a zero in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
All right, guys. Listen, kick in the door 2024. I love it. I love it. And I mean, where did you get that kind of energy from? Like, talk to me about the energy that was generated in 2023. What are the decisions that you made? What are the activities that you took? Because someone else listening to this hashtag replay is struggling, right? Somebody's struggling. They're trying to figure it out. They don't know where they're at. They're like, okay, it's 2024. It's a new situation. I'm kind of lost.
Yeah, absolutely. That energy came from a series of decisions that led to me getting more and more serious, So I started out in with the brand in 2020, and then I was serious, but I didn't know what serious was in business, right? I was serious about making money, but I didn't really know what serious meant in business. So as I went through Branded Like a Leader and stuff like that, I got more introduced, more exposed to what it really meant to be in business. So then 2021 rolled around, and I was like, all right, I'm doing some things here. So I was more serious in 2021. 2022 hit, and it was like, all right, I can do this. So that's what that looked like. So 2023's energy was different, because it was like, you really never have to go back to a job if you figure this out. Like, you really never have to send your wife back to the employment lines if you figure this out. Like, because I was seeing the income, I was seeing the impact, and I was like, it's not stopping. 400% revenue growth, 400% revenue growth. I said, ooh, if I kick in the door in 2024, we might just be able to say we made it to the north. Like, we've been on the run for a while, but we made it. Set up shop. So that's where that came from. It's like, boom, kick in the door. I know where we came from, but we ain't going back.
That's right, guys. This is the 7-figure fast break. This is the 7-figure fast break, right? I was, we do sales trainings every single day. So I was on the sales training earlier talking about the reality of the mindset that you have to be successful, not just in business, but in life, right? Because I didn't just start getting up early in the morning and working out. Listen, I'll just tell you a story. I used to get up and hit the gym so early that the guy who opens the door to the gym used to let me in the gym early while he set up shop. He would be there for like a half hour to 45 minutes before he opened the doors to the public at 5 o'clock. I was there waiting in the basement in my car when he used to get in and just go inside and open the door. And then he finally got tired of walking past me, and he was like, man, come on. I was like, what? You gonna let me go in there early? Bobby, listen, by the time the regular people, guys, pay attention, high performance, regular people, by the time the regular people had the door open for them, I was headed to the showers. So I literally had my own gym to myself, complete gym to myself for like 45 minutes before I hit the showers and regular people came up. By the time they were like getting warmed up, I was on my way to the Long Island Railroad. This is how I started my precedents, guys. Make your precedent evident. They would be coming in, seeing me leave. It set a precedent. I got so many clients from that situation because they would stop me. Where are you going? How did you do it? What are you doing? What is this, your gym? I'm like, no, but this is my life. And this is my business. My business is high performance, helping you to achieve more, see more, become more, so you can earn more, do more, give more, experience a greater electricity in your life. Like, you don't understand what's possible. You really don't. If you began to harness and dig out of you that which has been buried deep within inside of you, then when you walk into a room, the precedent would be evident. I don't care who's on stage. I don't care where you're at. The coach will not be able to hold you away from first class, is what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah. Coach will not be able to hold you back. You'll go from coach to business to first class faster than you can possibly imagine. That's what 2024 needs to be about. But let me just give you the reality. The reality of it is that's what 2004 looked like for me. 2014 looked like that for me. So 2004 is just adding zero, more and more zeros. And that's why, Bobby, that's why we become so effective in adding zeros to other people, because we've been at the add a zero game for a very, very long time. Guys, this is the Breakfast with the Brand. I want you to think about what I just said, because you cannot add a zero to anyone else's business, anyone else's life, until you can add a zero to your own. What does that look like for you in 2024? Let's grow. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a zero behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so we're gonna stay here for a little while, right? Because I wanted to let you know, you say sometimes like, how did that happen for you? How did you, what happened? What really happened? How did you get in the gym early when they let you in? Like, and I said that he didn't feel comfortable walking past me anymore. So he began to give me entrance. But the reality of it was that something clicked in his mind. And I really want you to understand what I'm about to say to you. When you perform at an extremely high level, when you elevate your performance, when you become more, do more, choose more, decide more, become more disciplined, execute at a higher level, doors will open for you. He literally opened the door for me early, gave me the keys. You understand? He gave me the keys. He opened the door for me, but it wasn't, and it had so little to do with me. You would say, oh, Sean performs at such a high level. He was up early, all the beautiful things that could be said if I wasn't humble, but I am. So it had very little to do with me. I just listened. I just listened to the voice inside of me. You have an inclination. You have an intuition. A lot of people turn their intuition into superstition. Don't do it. Don't do it. You have an inclination. You have an intuition. You probably get up around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. The problem is that you go to the bathroom and go back to bed. Yeah. Yeah, you wake up, you stir. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You wake up, you go to the bathroom, but you go back to bed. That's the problem. See, I wanted to discover that. I said, hold on. I tried to unpack that. I said, why am I getting up so early? I said, let me try something real quick. And then I realized okay, so some people say there's only 24 hours in a day. People who wake up and perform early say there's 24 hours in a day. Do you understand? There's so much more you can do if you do it more. So instead of me getting up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I'm getting up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock saying, oh my God, there's so much more that I can do with these hours.
Right.
And because I did those things, now remember, we're made in the image of, right? We're made in the image of, and we're supposed to be fruitful and dominate and go forth and dominate and be fruitful and multiply. And we're given the energy of the creative ability to, as a representative of, but we go back to sleep after we wake up. We hit the snooze alarm. See, when I align myself with that creative power and that energy and that discipline that created what we see when we open our eyes, he began to work in the minds of other people. And doors that were formerly closed will become open to you. And opportunities that you don't see as possible will be not only become possible, but become present in your life. It's a deep topic, but it's a real one. Make your precedent evident.
Wow. I was thinking about fear and how you can just overcome that when you make that precedent evident. And because you taught me, don't be afraid of the storm, become the storm. Like, that's what you taught me. And as I was learning to become the storm, I was adopting this mindset of saying, fear should be afraid of me. Fear should be afraid of me. And I thought about that when I was listening to you talk about the precedent and making it evident. It's almost like, what would 2024 look like if everything that you were afraid of became afraid of you? If you were afraid of going live, but now live was afraid of you coming on, they were like, what is he going to say today? What is she going to do today? What if you were afraid to pick up that phone and call that person that knows what you do, but they've outranked you for so long, or they've appeared to be out of your league, so to speak. And you just said, that's going to be afraid of me now. And you just throw yourself into it. What could 2024 look like? I think it would look remarkable, because that's what I wrote down for myself. You know, I was like, okay, who did I not reach out to last year and why? And I found that I was in the enlisted side of the house in the military, and I found it somewhat uncomfortable to reach out to some of those high officers. But the reality is they loved me. Like, I made their job so much easier for them. They sung my praises when I served alongside of them. And I'm like, they probably have an affinity with me, one that I overlooked simply because I was feeling some type of way about my own confidence. So really just think about that, guys. Everything that you might have feared, make that afraid of you, and just take that mindset into everything you do and see how things start to shape up for you.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what I'm going to say to you right now, based on what Bobby just said, is, I just wrote it down. So it's what you fear that will make this your year. It's what you fear that will make this your year. It's the thing that you're not doing. It's the thing that you were terrified to do in 23. It's the thing that you felt unqualified to do in 23 that will give rise to the best possible business and life situation that you could ever imagine. It is what you fear that will make this your year. So people hit me on the back end. You know, I get a lot of hits on the back end, DMs and whatnot, and emails. So people are hitting me like, are you going to do the Breakfast with the Brand? It's, you know, are you going to do the Breakfast with the Brand on Monday? You know, it's the first, and it's, you know, the first of the year. And I said, well, listen, guys, of course I would. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? See, we don't do what other people do, or we don't do what other people don't do. Right? So a lot of people took a lot of breaks and said, we're going to take this day off, take that day off, take this day off, take that day off. And I'm like, that's not what the culture of leadership looks like. Culture of leadership says, get up early, do the things that you've been doing. That's what makes you successful. Show face and lead consistently. See, we don't have the habits that most people have, or the tendencies or the proclivities to do the things that most people do. So we don't have the hindrances or the same excuses. See, a lot of people said they were going to do something this morning, but they didn't, and they're not going to because of last night. Hear me deeply. Hear me on a deeper level. There's levels to learning. There's levels to hearing, guys. A lot of people are not going to do what they said they were going to do today because of what they did last night. There's a lot of people that are not going to do this year the things that they want, the things that they said, or the things that they know they need to do or should do because of what they didn't do or what they did do last year. And this happens generationally. This happens generationally. There are things that you would be able to do had your forebearers, had your parents done things in their generation that they could have done, but they put it off, not till next day, not till next week, not to the next month or the next year, to the next generation. What are you putting off to the next generation? Because if I don't get up at 3 o'clock, my children are going to have to get up at 2 o'clock.
Wow. So true.
If I don't build the business, this is why I got 3 and not 1. This is why I wrote 3 and not 1. And that's why we got another one coming this year. There's another book coming this year. Might be another 2 or 3. The question is, to what degree are you executing what you know you should have done last year, or what you know could have been done the last generation? Or, let me flip that question around. What are you putting on the next generation that you could do this generation?
Man, this is making me take some deep breaths as I think about my career in the Marines and why I had to take that route. So some of you all know the story. My mother, so I had 4 dads by the time I was like 16 years old. And I was in Tennessee at this time, and my mom was getting ready to get into another serious relationship and move us back to Florida. I was like, I cannot go back to Florida. Like, I can't do this. So I asked her to emancipate me. I was like, hey, I need to stand on my own too. And in reference to what Sean is saying, like, what did my dad do that caused me to be homeless at 16? You know, what did my parents not do for my mother that had her say doing things that married people should do when she was a teenager? You know, what did they instill into her? What information or love did she lack that caused me to be 16 years old, 17 years old, somewhat on the streets of Tennessee, refusing to go back to Florida because there was nothing there for me? So now I'm in the Marine Corps, much like Sean said, getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning in a foxhole, a real foxhole, with a frozen rifle to my hands, training to go to war. And as I sat in that foxhole, cold, brushed up against another human being, we both came from a very similar background. So it's nothing against the military, so to speak, because it's a phenomenal place, but not everybody ends up there by the same, say, road. The same wind doesn't blow each person's sail there. Like, our sail got blown there because of circumstances that weren't ideal, while other people, you know, they have a lineage and legacy of military. But I say all of that to say that's why I'm building my business, is so that my children don't have to go to the military by default, but can choose if they so choose. They can say, Daddy did it, so I want to do it, and they can get out after 4 years. Or they can stay in. They can go in as officers. I went in enlisted because my no one was there to help me structure my education properly so I could get the degree, so I could go in as an officer. So there was just so many things that didn't happen. I wouldn't say for me, but just didn't line up, that caused me to have to do a few more things that other of my counterparts didn't have to do. And I want to fix that for my kids so that they don't have to go through that.
Watch this. So shout out to everybody watching this right now. You're one of a kind, right? You're one of a kind. If you're watching this right now, we got some watchers on X, formerly known as Twitter. We got some watchers on Facebook. We got some watchers on LinkedIn. We got some watchers on YouTube. I see you. Like, I see you. I appreciate your presence, and I recognize you as being someone who has a like mind and spirit as myself, because I used to always try to do everything I could and get every morsel and every ounce of personal and professional development that I could, and every ounce and morsel of mentorship and coaching that I could get, even before I could afford it. I was looking for the hacks and the opportunities to get free information and whatever information was possible. So I applaud you for that, because a lot of other people are still in the bed, right? So I will just want to shout you out real quick. I recognize you. Share this out to someone else. Knock on someone's door, call them, wake them up, and help them get this message and help them get this light in their life. You know, what Bobby's talking about and what I said before was generational responsibility. Everybody talks about generational wealth, generational wealth. What about generational health? And when I say health, I mean mental health, emotional health, resilience, stickability, the ability to do the hard things. So success is, people don't understand what success is. I was successful long before I made money. Way before. It's habits, guys. It's habitual. There are patterns to success. And if you enact the patterns, the success will become you and the money will become you. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. It's so simple, as a matter of fact, that it goes over people's heads. They like to complex things and make it complicated. Right, Bobby?
Right.
They like to make things complicated for themselves. And I tell people all the time, scale. Simple, doing the same thing over and over again. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. So we have a pilot inside the Leadership Leverage, and I tell the pilot all the time. Me and him joke about it, because the best flights are boring. The best flights are uneventful. The best flights are flown by autopilot. The pilot doesn't really have to do anything but be there. All you have to do is pick up the habits and do the habits, and success will be boring. You'll just turn around and make more money. Your life, your business will just scale. You'll add zeros. You know what relationships that last do? You know what relationships that last do, Bobby? We're both married, right? So it would behoove us to know what relationships that last do. Watch this, guys.
Yeah.
Put it in the chat. What do you think the people that stick around for 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 70 years, what do you think they do? 40 years. Relationships. Now, we all know, like, a lot of us come from broken homes. I come from a broken home. Bobby comes from a broken home. What did they not do that successful people in their relationship do? And I'm going to show you how it relates to business before we go to the break.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, think about that for a moment. Let's go to a break, and I want you to put it in the chat. What do you think successful people do in relationships that help them stay together, that broken homes don't do? We'll be right back. I want you to think. Let's grow. Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people. and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory, I don't talk hyperbole, I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Raiz. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
All right. So what do successful people do that keeps them together that unsuccessful people don't do, that tears them apart? And most people think it's complicated. It's not. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. They do the same thing. They have a date night and they stick to it no matter what. Business event takes place. They're like, oh, we got to go over here. We're going over here, guys. And the gentleman says, no, I'm sorry. I won't be able to do that. Why not? It's date night.
That's right.
I go out with my wife every Thursday, and that won't change for anything or anyone. Now, I learned this when I was young because I used to see the same couple walking down the block. And I used to wonder to myself, like, you could literally set the clock by them. They did the same thing consistently. They went to the park, they sat down, they held hands, they had conversations. See, the problem today is that people have such a short attention span. And we're looking at different series so much that we make our lives a different series because we become uninterested in patterns. So we break patterns. And we say, no, I'm going to do this, or this month I'm going to do this. And how many of you know what I'm talking about? Today you're a vegan, tomorrow you're a today you're into how much water you're drinking, and you understand, like, we're so swift and changeable that we're almost ADHD, and it's hard to create a pattern. Relationships that stay together create patterns. And a lot of times it's hard to do when you're young because you want everything. It's an immediate gratification society. You want everything immediately, when you want it, how you want it, where you want it. But reality is that people stick together by doing a series of the right things consistently over time. So for someone like a child, it's boring. But how do you lose weight? By doing the same thing consistently over time. Very small variations, very small variations. So the husband and wife team, they might go out to a different movie. They might eat at a different restaurant, but they go out and they watch a movie and they go out to eat consistently like clockwork. You know why? You know what another word for this is? You know what another word for this is? System. It's a system, like eating light is, eating healthy is. You might have a small variation within the healthy eating, but it's still the same thing. It's a series of doing the same things repetitively. You know what else is a system? The universe, the stars, the sun. It's a system. Seasons are a system that's reliable, it's predictable. You can set your clock by it. You know what a business is? A series of systems and doing the same thing consistently over time.
Yeah. This is great. I'm remembering something that I do with my wife that's a part of our system, and it never, ever really changes, and it's prayer. Like me and my wife pray together at a certain time every morning. And at that time, when we pray together every morning, I think my clients even know now. Like I'll set certain things, but if it comes in between that time, that's our intermission. Hey, we need to take a brief intermission. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. And it's just really one of those things that is so integral to what we do that's kept us together. So that's one thing that we do. Another thing we do is dinner. Like we eat as a family when we can. So I work on some days, she works on some days. If she's like going to the hospital where she likes to do her volunteer things at, and if we're all at the same place at the same time and the kids are there too, then we eat dinner together. So it's really interesting because we can balance all the different things that we're trying to do in that system. So I thought that was pretty insightful. Another thing that I think helps our marriage is just really listening to each other. I think that's a part of our system too, is listening systematically. It sounds a little strange because we think about critical listening and we think about all these other different types of listening, but if you pay enough attention, you might find that your partner has a speech pattern. And if you pay enough attention to that speech pattern, you will find that when they're upset, they may speed their words up. When they're hiding or lying, yeah, we can still do that. Even as married couples, we have to dig in and like, are you being honest? Okay, I'm not being honest. But if you're really, built that trust, it'll come out, because sometimes we can be afraid of each other, at times, like just of what the reaction might look like. So when you just pay close attention and you pay attention to what's going on, it's so powerful. So that's something that we do, systematic communication. And she knows when my voice gets low, or she knows when my voice pitch gets maybe higher than normal. So I think that's so powerful to pay attention to those systems and work them for a successful.
Very good. Now let me show you how this matriculates over into business, just in case you are questioning the validity of the statement. It's okay. Question the validity of the statement. It's okay. It should be inspected. I believe that it should be pulled apart. That's a system too, a system of introspection, a system of going deeper. So is business really a series of patterns done over and over again? Sean, are you really making sense on the 1st of New Year, like the 1st of January, 2024? Is that a fact? How can I prove that? Here we go. So Branded Like a Leader is a system. It's a system of business building. It's a system. It's a series. It's a series of steps, a series of systems that takes you from invisible to invincible. It's a series of systems that take you from visibility to credibility to profitability. And what does it really look like? It looks like adding a 0 to you so we can add a 0 to your business. When you add a 0 to you, you add a 0 to your business. It's reliable. It's consistent. It's valid. It's been tested. That's another thing too. Don't think that you will say you believe and not be tested. So don't think you're going to get married and your marriage won't be tested. It will. Don't think you're going to build a business and it's not going to be tested. It will. Don't think you're going to go into, you're just going to say, okay, I'm going to eat salad and fruit and I'm going to get healthy and not be tested. Oh yes, the red velvet cheesecake call summoning you at 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, that will happen. You will be tested. You'll go to a place and everybody will know that you eat salad and you don't eat, meat or whatever the case may be, whatever your preferences are, whatever your decisions are, and you will be thrown a curveball in the bottom of the 9th inning. Bases loaded. What do? It's an integrity check. It'll check the validity of your system. It'll check the validity and your dedication to your system. So here's the acid test. Bobby coming out of another system. Came out of one system into another system. Didn't have 400% revenue increase. Began the process. That's another thing. It's a process. A marriage is a process. A business is a process. Getting healthy is a process. Coaching is a future-focused, goal and action-oriented process. Emphasis on action and emphasis on process. It's a process. Bobby comes in, doesn't have the visibility, gains the visibility, which gave him validity in the marketplace. Visibility equals validity. Visibility equals validity. It's a system and it's a process. Then he moved over from visibility to credibility. He went from validity to certainty. He was tested by the market. The market says, okay, this guy really has the credentials. He's credible. And then when he's consistent over time, they say, okay, not only is he credible, but he's valid. He's certain. So I can have certainty in him. Understand? You're transferring an emotion. The sales process is a transference of emotion. A relationship deepens. A relationship deepens through the transference of the emotion certainty. I can rely on this person. I can trust this person. I feel secure in this person. Your clients, same thing. I feel secure in this person. I can trust this person. They're valid. They're consistent. Fabio, I see you. What's good? Okay, great, guys. Like, listen, we have friends in multiple different places and multiple different nationalities all over the world. Listen, guys, I love it when you guys show up, right? So shout out to Fabio on YouTube real quick. Shout out to Tia real quick. Tunera, I see you. Jordan Knox. Listen, guys, we appreciate your presence. It's New Year's. A lot of people are still sleeping because they don't have a process, because they don't have a system. Some people had a system until last night happened and their system collapsed. When your business goes wrong, you're experiencing system collapse. When your revenue dips, you're experiencing system collapse, process contamination. Something gets inside of your process and contaminates it and shuts it down. But anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about. Validity, credibility, profitability. He went from the sequence in the process of validity to the sequence in the process of credibility, and now he's experiencing the season of profitability. That's where the 400% revenue growth comes from. You know what else happens? Relationally, you know what this looks like? Anniversary 1, anniversary 2, anniversary 3, anniversary 4, anniversary 10. You know what else it looks like? We've been to, if this is your pattern, if this is your process, we went to Australia last year. We went to Dubai in 2015. We're going to Italy in 2016. You know what it looks like in revenue in your business? Adding a zero, 100K, 1 million, 10 million. Very simple, but it's a process. And you got to have consistency and discipline to endure it. Because if not, you're gonna explode yourself. It's gonna be self-destruction. You're gonna need something different, and you're gonna contaminate your own process.
This is great because I'm thinking back to all the years I spent in the military. Some of them which I complained about some things, but I didn't really complain because that doesn't do any good. But I remember some things that I was just like, man, I wish it wasn't like this. But it was a system. And one of those systems I've shared with you guys before is socks. We have to wear a certain color sock in the military, and that's a part of our system. And we have to blouse our boots a certain way. That's a part of our system. Like, we had so many systems in the military. Like, please pay attention to this. We had so many systems in the military that I could tell if you were one of us or not just by the way you wore your clothes. So imagine being able to have a enemy combatant put on your uniform and you can spot that individual out simply because of their inability to systematize the uniform properly. In other words, wear it properly. So I think that that's very important when we start thinking about competition to a degree in business. Is the more you go into your system and you refine your system and you get it working like a well-oiled machine, that's where a lot of the inches are earned. The inches are earned in the degree to which your system is flawless. And I think that that's something that a lot of us can, I guess, underrate. We can underrate, because that's where the inches are definitely in the military is. And I'll pass it back to Sean here, because one thing that we do in the Marines that's different from everybody else is our degree of discipline. So when people see the Marines, they automatically equate us to extremely disciplined individuals, and that's our edge. That's our inch. Is because all of us are like that. From the
well-oiled machine.
A well-oiled machine. Every single
well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
It's almost like one cadet is almost indistinguishable from another. Yeah. As long as they're as long as they have the same nationality. They're almost indistinguishable. They're all cut from the same cloth. They all came from the same culture. I asked a question. We're going to go to a break again because I want to address this question because it's so important. So important. So I asked the question. I said, what is a potential hazard that can contaminate your success system in 2024? And look at the answer. We undermine our own success. We did it last year. We did it the year before. The question is, what's going to stop us from doing it in 2024? And I'm going to give you a couple hacks when we get back. This is The Breakfast with the Brand. Thank you for being honest and transparent.
I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes. I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Ra'is. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
All right. So a couple hacks, right, to keep you out of your own way in 2024. A couple of success secrets and habit patterns to circumvent and to short circuit the tendency that we have to contaminate our own process. One of them is start small. Start small. Don't try to read a book a day. Try to read a page a day. Try to read 5 pages a day. And what happens is, as you do this, as you implement this process and this system, you begin to gain momentum. You begin to gain momentum. And what happens is, if you're reading, let's say the books you read are 200 pages. Generally, that's the general sized book. That makes sense. Okay, great. So you're reading 10 pages a day. Let's say you're reading 7 pages a day, 5 pages a day, because you will go from 5 to 10 in no time at all. Let's say you're reading 5 pages a day. It'll take you 40 days, a month and a half to read a book. So what does that mean? Every year you're reading 6 books. I want you to think. I want you to really, really think now. If you're going to read 10 pages a day, you can cut that down to 20 days. 20, give or take 20 days. And now you can read bigger books, maybe 300-page books, 10 pages a day, a book a month. Now you're reading 12 books a year. You're becoming more consistent. As you become more consistent, you're building trust with yourself. When you build trust, you can build self-esteem, self-confidence, because you can rely on yourself. You keep your word to yourself. Right? The way you're going to contaminate your own system is if you can't trust yourself. And let me tell you this, guys, if you can't trust yourself, then your clients can't trust you either. So you have to stand on a firm ground, and you have to have discipline, and you have to have high levels of self-esteem and confidence. And where do you get confidence from? You get confidence from congruence. Confidence comes from 2 other C's, competence and congruence. But congruence relies on your competence and putting your competence into your confidence. And what do I mean by that? Let me break down the C's real quick. Competence is your ability or skill to do something. Congruence is not stepping outside of your bounds and saying that you can do something you can't do. And knowing that you're well established to say what you can do with confidence, which is a sense of knowing, a sense of being. That's what confidence is. Confidence comes from keeping your word. You don't have to have a master's degree to be confident. But you become unconfident if you walk into a room and say, I got a PhD, and you don't. So keep your word and have integrity, high levels of ethics, and start small. And last one is keep it simple. Start small and keep it simple, because success is a series of simple things. Marriages fall apart when people try to do everything all the time. That doesn't work. That complicates it. Marriages work, and businesses work, and relationships work, and scaling works when you do small, simple, incremental things built and they compound over time. I promise you this, guys. This is what we did. We literally did the same thing. If you look at that link on the bottom, it's branded like a leader. That never changed. Of course, we have coaching like a leader, speaking like a leader, consulting like a leader, but there's one entry point. I don't care where people come from. They say, Sean, where should I start? Branded like a leader. Sean, how did you scale? Branded like a leader. How did Bobby go from 0 to 400% revenue increase year after year after year? Branded like a leader. We added on to that foundation, but the foundation has been, always will be branded like a leader. See me in 10 years. Now, listen to this. This is the funny part, Bobby. Where we're headed specifically, I can't even tell you because my vision is so huge. And when opportunity comes, I seize it fearlessly. So there's new innovations, new disruptions, and new situations that'll take place that can change the general direction. However, what I can tell you for certain is this. 10 years from now, when a person asks me where I should begin, I'm going to say branded like a leader. When they ask me, what did you do to start? Branded like a leader. Well, Sean, what do I need to pull it back? Branded like a leader. Branded like a leader, branded like a leader, branded like a leader. Brandedlikealeader.com. Go to it. Read the page. Read the page and learn and understand why. Everybody starts. I started. We scaled extremely fast. But where did we start? Branded like a leader. Evidence-based. Will not change. Start small. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate the matter in 2024, or your 2024 will look like your 2019.
Wow. When I wrote down the success secrets, guys, I wrote down pretty much if I just go deeper and what's working, then it's going to keep working. And this, for me, ladies and gentlemen, is a subtle yet profound reality, because I was getting the 400% revenue growth, and I'm continuing to get it. It's likely going to be like 500 to probably 4,000 this year, but it's because a light bulb has gone off for me. And it's not today, but it was recently. And I just want to give it to you guys that are listening to this right now. Sometimes we can mess ourselves up because we think things are supposed to happen faster than they actually do. And in my attempt to get this windfall game, I would jump out of what's working into something that looks like it will work faster. I would jump out of what's working well. It's working consistent, it's generating revenue, and people are growing an affinity to it. But then I'd see something over here, and it would look good. And it would seem like everybody else is making money there. And I would say to myself, maybe we should do that too. Maybe we should do it too. And I learned from trial and error that even with the 400% revenue growth, what could it have been had I gone deeper? And Sean taught this in Branding Like a Leader, I believe. Go an inch wide and a mile deep.
There we go.
Wide, mile deep. So what I want you all to think about is this. What's working? What's been working? And how can you make that an inch wide and just go deep with that this year?
Very good. Guys, we're about to close. I just want to help you real quick, because when you do this, instead of you following others, others will follow you. Instead of you following others, others will follow you. So when we did Branded Like a Leader, you didn't hear a lot about branding, if you heard anything at all about branding. Now branding is all you hear about. I said add a zero so long ago, if you really went to excavate it, it would make your head spin. However, now you'll hear someone or someone else say add a zero, add a zero, add a zero. We've been saying that for almost a decade. I said that in corporate. I brought it here from corporate. Right. So what I mean is, when you stay consistent and you do the same thing over and over again, what will happen is you're creating a pattern, and people follow patterns. Instead of you following other people's pattern, people will begin to follow your pattern. So become a leader and lead. That's your mission, should you choose to accept it in 2024. This is the Breakfast with the Brand. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. You know why? Because it's a pattern. Let's grow.